If you were asked to name a Generation 1 water Pokémon, the chances are Krabby and Kingler would not come to mind. I've certainly never had a Krabby or a Kingler on my team, but have I been unnecessarily unfair to them? Let's find out together. Krabby and Kingler are pure water types, which is one of the best types to use in the game. They have just 2 weaknesses, being grass and electric, and 4 resistances with steel, fire, water and ice. In Generation 2, however, water is a special type, and Krabby and Kingler have very lopsided stats against their special. And that means we're going to have the typing and the base stats working against each other for this entire run. So hopefully it won't be too much of a hindrance, but we'll find out together over the course of the next half an hour or so. If you do enjoy this video, please do leave it a like. If you're enjoying yourself, please do subscribe. I upload a couple of times a week. And tell me, what was the first Generation 1 water Pokemon that you thought of? But anyway, with all that out of the way, let's take a look at our Krabby. So as always, we start off at level 5. We have 18 HP at level 5, which isn't bad, but isn't great either. We have a Berry, we have Bubble and Leer as our moves, and our stats are 16 in attack, 15 in defense, 8 in the specials, which isn't great, and 10 in speed. So we're slow and we have no special attack. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Bubble is the weakest water move you can get. So with an abysmal 25 in special attack, I have a feeling that the very start of this game could be incredibly slow, you know. Our first encounter is a Hoothoot, and it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 hits to knock out that Hoothoot. We lost almost half our health, so we're going to go and have to heal straight away. And we're going to visit a route we haven't visited yet together. We're up here at Route 46 because we can find Geodude. And my plan is to just use all the bubbles we have and then move on. Geodude at the moment is the only Pokemon we can reliably knock out because it's 4 times weak to water, so getting up to level 9 at this point could be crucial. We aren't going to be able to encounter Geodude now until after we've beaten rival number 1, so I'm hoping level 9 and Bubble, even though it is a terrible move with a terrible stat, will be enough to see us through, and then we can take things from there. At level 12 we'll learn Vice Grip, and Vice Grip will be the main move we have for the start of the game, but for now we're just going to have to keep on bubbling. Bubble is not a good move, and it's not very effective against Chikorita, and our low base stat in special attack means this is a nightmare. We have the Berry on, which we use at this point to heal back up, and Chikorita isn't actually able to damage us that badly at all because we have excellent physical defense. So that was just a bit of a war of attrition that we eventually won, and we can go back to Professor Elm's laboratory and tell the police officer that the rival's name is triple question mark. And that means at long last we can move on towards Violet City in our first gym. It's Falconer's gym. He is a flying type specialist, and we'll start off with one of the first gym trainers. It's Birdkeeper Rod with his Pidgey. We get a critical hit on the Pidgey, and that might just have won this encounter, you know. And we finally level up to level 12. At level 12 we have Vice Grip, and now it's time to take on Falconer. He is a flying type leader, and he has a Pidgey and a very underleveled Pidgeotto. So the first thing we do is move Vice Grip up to its main position as move number 1, because it is the move we're going to be using the absolute most. We get rid of the Pidgey in a couple of hits, and we're taking roughly a third off the Pidgeotto each time. We knock it out, and we have defeated Falconer in a time of 13 minutes and 14 seconds. Quite a slow start. Now we can move on into the Ilex Forest and catch our HM friends. The first one to appear today is Psyduck, and the good thing about having Bubble is we can whittle away at Psyduck's health just a little bit to try and make it easier to catch. So we use Bubble a few times to get it into yellow, and then we'll just hoik a Pokeball at it. We catch it on the first try, and we can move on to getting Paris. Psyducks are going to be used for Surf, Strength, Waterfall and Whirlpool, and Paris is going to be used for Dig, Sweet Sense, Cut and Flash. The HM friends are just as important as any other member of the party. In fact, they are more important in some senses because without them, we wouldn't be getting past Ilex Forest at all. So we do the same whittling technique against the Paris, we catch it in a Great Ball, and we can move on into the Slowpoke Well. Now in the Slowpoke Well, we're going to learn our next move. We're very rapidly approaching level 16, and this is when we will learn Harden. Harden is going to be very, very important to us because it will raise our already incredible defense stats even higher, and with 6 of the 8 gyms in Johto being physical attackers, that should help us speed up a little bit. Talking of physical attackers, that is what Bugsy is. He's a Bug-type specialist with a Metapod, a Kakuna and a Scyther. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to Harden against the Metapod. We use it 6 times to get our defense up as much as we can, and then we start to use Vice Grip. Voice Grip isn't the best move in the world, it's only 55 base power, but that is still an awful lot better than what we had with Bubble. So we're onto the Scyther now, and Scyther is building the Fury Cutter, and unfortunately we get a bad damage roll on that final Fury Cutter and we get knocked out. So that was our first reset, and we're going to do the same strategy again. This time Krabby's holding a berry to hopefully give us a little bit of a buffer so that we can knock out that Scyther a little bit more comfortably. So after we do our 6 hardens again, we get to work on the Metapod. It's a 2-shot and we are on to the Kakuna. Kakuna hardens on the first turn and then manages to poison us. I swear, Poison Sting is only a 10% chance, but it feels like about a 75% chance in this game. It doesn't matter who I'm up against. If I see Poison Sting, I just expect to be poisoned. But the berry saved our hide and we got through that battle in a time of 22 minutes and 36 seconds. I have not put the comparisons on for this one because I think we all know there is no hope of us beating our PB at all with this. We are just playing to see how well Kingler will do. And then just before the second rival fight, I replaced Bubble with Mud Slap. That means we don't have a stab move at the moment. However, because our physical attack is so much higher than our special attack, I think Mud Slap would actually do greater damage at this moment anyway. I tried getting a couple of hardens off against the Ghastly, and that was a bad idea really. Rival 2 doesn't have many physical moves, so Harden is a little bit of a waste of time here. So we'll just get to Mud Slapping the Ghastly. We take 2 Mud Slaps to knock it out, and we can move on to the Bayleaf. We're at 42 HP for the Bayleaf, it outspeeds, and it knocks us out. There is absolutely no way we're getting through this battle at the moment. It is time to go on the grind. Before doing Slowpoke Well and Bugsy, Hyper Anthony is very difficult to get through for a lot of Pokemon, so I purposely save him in case we need to grind before Rival 2. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get the experience we needed, so we had to finish it off with a Wild Rat there. And now we can try Rival 2 all over again. Hopefully just a single level will see us fit. So we'll start off once again by hardening because I hadn't quite learnt my lesson at this point. And then we Mud Slap. It's an Oko on the Ghastly, which is an awful lot better than what we were doing before. And we're back onto Bailey. Vice Grip does an awful lot of damage, but we get poisoned. We then get taken down to 6 HP as we knock it out. But Zubat is waiting in the wings to knock us out. Combination of poison damage and bites finishes us off. Let's try again. I think we can get through at level 20. We know that we don't have an issue with the Ghastly anymore, it's just this pesky Bayleaf. Bayleaf uses Razor Leaf first turn and leaves us on 13 HP, but it misses second time. This could be the in we need. Zubat goes deep into the red and we knock it out, and we've defeated rival number 2 in a time of 26 minutes and 34 seconds. We'll get cut from the Cutting Man in the Ilex Forest, and then we'll move on into Goldenrod City. We'll get the coin case and we'll give our Krabby a haircut. Well, it's more of a shell shape with a Krabby, isn't it? But the younger haircut brother did a good job, and Krabby seemed happy about it too, which is all that really matters. So now we'll go into the game corner and buy Abra. Abra is going to be used for teleport, and teleport is incredibly handy, not only before we get Fly, but it also saves time menuing in other places as well. Talking of Fly, we'll pick up Kenya here north of Goldenrod, and now we'll go into Spinner Hell. In Spinner Hell we are going to encounter this Picnicker. She is going to give us a new move. At level 23 we learn Stomp. Stomp is much better than Vice Grip. It is a normal type move with 65 base power instead of 55, but we have the chance to flinch. In the National Park we will pick up the Quick Claw and we will instantly give it to Krabby. While we're here we pick up TM28 for Paris and we have a little chat with Floria. She'll unlock Pseudo Widow for us later, and because we've done so much battling we can get TM27. And with all that out of the way, it's time to take on Whitney. She leads with Clefairy that loves to use Metronome and it uses Fury Cutter on the first turn, so I decide to get a Harden in and it Toxics me. That could be one of the worst moves Clefairy has picked in a very long time, because now we're taking poison damage and Rollout is building and building and building. We're on 11 HP, but the Quick Claw activates and we have defeated Whitney on our first try. I was very shocked there. I thought we were going to have to reset because of that Toxic. Time of 34 minutes and 23 seconds, and we'll pick up the Surf HM from the front of the Ecruteak Dance Theatre in celebration. And now it is time for rival number 3. He's going to lead with that pesky Haunter, and the only thing we've got to hit it at the moment is Mud Slap. He uses Curse and we still don't Oko the Haunter, so we're down to 43 HP as the Magnemite comes out. We're at level 26 though, and at level 27 we learn our next move. In the UK we call this move guillotine. I appreciate some people will call it guillotine, but I'll probably call it guillotine through this video, and it is a one-hit wonder. It is a massive gamble to use the move, but we do manage to knock out the Bayleaf in one, and that's probably saved that battle for us. So we have Guillotine to thank for getting through rival number 3 with such ease. So let's move on into the gym. We have a bunch of ghost type Pokemon to contend with, and our only move to hit ghost types at the moment is Mudslap. Mudslap was very, very handy in the early game, but at this point it is starting to lose a little bit of its charm. We do, however, evolve from that stage, and we are now a Kingler, and now we can move on to the medium. It is the Halloween month, so we're going to put the medium sprite on screen. I know I find her sprite scary, and Mudslap, even as a Kingler, does not OHKO a Haunter. This does not bode well, and in fact this Haunter uses Spite, and we run out of PP, so I decide to reset, and I am going to teach Surf instead of Mudslap. Let's try again against Medium Grace. We have a little bit of a better special attack now. A critical hit knocks out the first Haunter, out comes the second Haunter, and this is feeling much better. Our special attack is only 50, which isn't terrible, because Surf, of course, is a base 95 power move, so they sort of balance each other out. So we are in a very good position for this point in the game. We'll move Surf up to top spot for now, because we cannot hit with any other move. We surf the Ghastly and we surf the Haunter. We do take a little bit of damage from Haunter though, and out comes Gengar. Hypnosis misses on the first turn and he uses Mean Luck on the second turn. He survives with a sliver of health, but that's enough to send us to sleep, and we have to take a reset. So we're now going to move on into Mount Mortar. We need another level, and this Pokemaniac here is perfect. He has 2 fully evolved Nidos, and that is enough for us to get level 30 in a very, very quick amount of time. So now with that extra level, we're going to take on Morty again. And because of how much Hypnosis hit us in this run, I have changed my routing slightly for subsequent runs. We're going to go to the Moo Moo Farm and pick up the Mint Berry outside of there, just so that we have a chance of waking up on the first turn. So we get through the Ghastly and the Haunter with ease, and we're on to the Gengar, and once again Hypnosis hits first try. Fortunately, we wake up on the first turn and we knock out the Gengar. We're onto the Haunter, and our low special attack is working against us there, but we do survive and we have defeated Morty in a time of 44 minutes and 29 seconds. That was a really slow Morty split, but we've got to move on into Olivine City. And when we make it there, we'll go into the cafe and pick up Strength. And for once, we're teaching Strength to a Pokemon we're running. We're going to teach Strength in place of Stomp. We're going to forego the chance to flinch for that extra 15 base power, and because we're going to be going via Blackthorn City anyway, we have the option to remove it a little bit later on. We'll have a little chat with Jasmine and we'll pick up the rare candy, and then we'll move on outwards towards Cyanwood City. We'll grab the secret potion from the man here in the dodgy shop, and now we can go into the gym. We had no issues at all with the gym trainer, so we're straight onto Chuck. He's a fighting type specialist who leads with a Primeape. The first thing we're going to do is increase our already great defense a little bit higher with a couple of Hardens, and then we'll use Strength to OHKO the Primeape. We're onto the Poliwrath and we use Strength, and he uses Surf. That really did confuse me, but I'm not going to complain because that gave us a very easy battle. Time of 51 minutes 43 seconds for Chuck. Let's move on to the Lake of Rage, where we'll pick up a rare candy, and then we'll take a little detour to Cherry Grove City. Now that we have Surf and Fly, it's easy to go and get the Mystic Water. It's not worth doing it until you have both, because you have to backtrack quite a long way, and now we'll take on the red Gyarados. We're going to use Strength against the Gyarados, take it into the yellow. He uses Leer, but it fails. And now that we have defeated the Gyarados, the Liar with the Flyers Lance turns up. He's the nasty bird thief. I'm not sure if all of you spotted, but in the Tauros video, he was the one that stole one of my Kenya. I didn't misplace it after all. By way of an apology, he gives us HMO6, which is Whirlpool, and we can move on into Price's gym. Price is an Ice-type trainer, and he leads with a Seal that goes down in 1 strength. Dewgong's next, a little bit bulkier, but still doesn't have much to hit us, so we take it down in 2 hits. Final Pokemon is Piloswine. Piloswine is weak to water, so we surf against it, and we have defeated Price in a time of 59 minutes and 32 seconds. Let's move on to Jasmine, the Steel-type leader, and she will lead with a pair of Magnemite. It's imperative that we knock these out in 1 shot each, because otherwise they'll paralyze us. Magnemite number 1 goes down, as does Magnemite number 2, and that means we're on to the Steelix. Steelix is, of course, parts ground-type, so it's weak to water, and goes down in a single hit. We've defeated Jasmine in a time of 1 hour, 1 minute and 20 seconds. And now let's move on to do a little bit of housekeeping and picking up stuff that we didn't pick up earlier in the run. First thing we'll do is go here to Violet City, and we will pick up the rare candy just east of the Sprout Tower. Because we're a water type, there was no chance we were doing the Sprout Tower beforehand, so we'll do that now and get HMO5, which is Flash. We can move on into Goldenrod City and pick up the rare candy south of there, and now it's time to take on the Rocket Admin at the top of the radio tower. He's put a fake moustache on to try and look like the director, and we have a little bit of an issue here, because Strength isn't able to OHKO the coughing, and that means we get hit by a critical hit sludge, and we get poisoned. So this battle actually started to go against us very, very quickly. I tried using Surf as well, but it just was no use. We weren't able to take out any of the Pokemon reliably. It was a two-shot on both, and because he's got so many poison moves, we get to the final coughing, he uses Tackle and knocks us out. So we're going to try again, and this time we're going to hold the Mystic Water that we picked up in Cherry Grove just a few moments ago. The Mystic Water seems to just about tip the balance in our favour here, because we are now able to comfortably one-shot all the coughing, which puts us in a much better position for the wheezing. Wheezing uses sludge against us and doesn't poison us, so now it's just a case of taking care of the final two coughing, and we can move on out of the top of the radio tower. I've got to be honest, I never really planned for a reset here, so it caught me a little bit off guard, but now we can move on to rival number 4. He will lead with Golbat, so we will use Strength against it, and Strength doesn't quite OHKO. It's at this point that I think we need to think about replacing Strength with a stronger normal type or other physical move. I think Return is probably going to be the best option, and we have Blackthorn City coming up. Surf easily takes care of the Magnemite, and then we use Guillotine against the rival starter. It feels so good to be able to one-shot the Pokemon you're weakest against. Haunter goes down with the greatest of ease with a Surf because we're still holding the Mystic Water, and then we just Surf on the Sneasel a couple of times to defeat rival number 4, and we can go to the top of the radio tower once more. After saving the Director, we can talk to Mary, who will give us the Pink Bow, and the Pink Bow is the Mystic Water for normal type moves, so that means we'll get a 10% boost on our normal type moves. We'll pick up the radio card while we're here, and then we'll go into the Move Deleter's house. I actually had to check which house it was. Thank goodness he had a sign outside of it, so we'll say goodbye to Strength. It served us well for that little mid-part of the game, and we shall teach Return in its place. Our best option is to treat Kingler as if it's a normal type Pokemon, but with slightly different type effectiveness. So now we're on to Claire, the actual Dragon type specialist of this generation. We take care of her Dragonair in one shot each. Return is dealing a lot of damage at this point, and it's boosted with the Pink Bow, and that means we are already on to the Kingdra. We take Kingdra into the red with the first return, Smokescreen fails, and then I get a little bit cheeky and try a Guillotine. It doesn't work out, and then I thought I could take Kingdra into non-healing range and knock it out, but Surf didn't do enough damage because it's 4 times resistance, so a couple of returns later we knock out the Kingdra, and we reject Crabhammer. We already have a water type move that's stronger, and Crabhammer is only 85% accurate. We get the badge from Claire with a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes and 48 seconds. Let's move on to the final rival battle. He'll lead with Sneasel this time, and I say it a lot, but Sneasel really did get the short end of the stick in this generation. We use Return against it, and it says goodbye straight away. Out comes Magneton because it's strong against us, but Surf easily knocks it out. On to Meganium we go. We use Return this time. I don't want to risk Guillotine, and we get poisoned yet again. I think this is like the 5th or 6th time we've been poisoned on this run. Normally I complain about paralysis and poisons thing for Kanto in Generations 1 and 3, but in this run, we just kept getting poisoned up the wazoo. It was very strange, and it's very annoying when you have poison when you're doing a video, because it means the screen goes all kinds of awkward. So you'll see a couple of times where the time has skipped because I've used an antidote to make sure it doesn't flash for us. But now that we've defeated the rival, we can heal up and we can say thank you to our HM friends. We say thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and to Paris. They're all going to take a nice little holiday while we take on the League with Kingler. Before we take on the League though, we've got to buy our 4 full restores. We'll either need them or we won't. And now let's take a look at our stats before we go and take on Will. We are level 53 and we are holding the King's Rock. We've got 141 HP and our moves are Return, Guillotine, the one-hit knockout move, Harden, and Surf. And our stats are 171 in attack, 159 in defense, 89 in the specials, and 105 in speed. So attack is huge, defense is great, speed not so much, and the specials are very lacking. First League member is Will. He is a Psychic type trainer, and he will lead with his first Xatu. So we're going to use Return against the Xatu to take it down in one shot, and out comes Exeggutor. Exeggutor is the strongest of his Pokemon against us, and he uses Reflect, which is really bad, because we are a physical attacker. So let's swap to Surf for the Jinx. We take her deep into the yellow. She slaps us a couple of times, so we Surf her back, and now we're on to Slowbro. I thought the best option would be a Guillotine, but Reflect fades as Guillotine misses, so now we'll just use Return a couple of times. We knock out the Slowbro, and that brings us on to the final Pokemon, the Xatu. We knock out the Xatu in one hit, grow to level 54, and that is Will all done and dusted. Next up is Koga. He is a Poison-type specialist, but he has a cheeky little Fortress in there just as well. So we go and take out the Ariados in one return, and we are on to Venomoth. Venomoth also goes down in one return, and now we are on to the Fortress. I get cheeky and use Guillotine, and it works in our favour this time. Another difficult Pokemon taken out in one shot. Muck, however, cannot get taken out in a single return, so I use a combination of Return and Surf. And then Crobat makes me pay the price for trying to be cheeky. I decided to use a Guillotine again just to see if I could take it out in one shot. He uses Double Team, so his evasion is all over the place. We keep missing returns, he heals up when we do eventually hit. We miss a couple more times and we get poisoned yet again. I'm sick of getting the poison out of our crab. It is incredibly frustrating, but we do eventually defeat Koga. Bruno is next. He is a fighting type specialist, and he will lead with a Hitmontop. Bruno has the potential to hit very hard, so we've got to hit even harder. We take out the Hitmontop in one shot. We don't get hit by a priority move this time by Hitmonchan, presumably he was going to use a Thunder Punch. Next up is Hitmonlee, we take him out in one shot as well. Here comes the Machamp. Machamp is one of the peskiest Pokemon we will face in a run. He gets a critical hit cross chop to take off a lot of health, but fortunately for us, his last Pokemon's an Onix, so it didn't really matter. So we've taken care of Bruno, let's move on to Karen, the Dark-type specialist who leads with that pesky Umbreon. Umbreon is one of the Pokemon I am most frustrated with every single run, so this felt fantastic. Guillotine on the Umbreon. Goodbye Umbreon, you're not sand attacking us today. We didn't get paralysed off the Vileplume. This is a great Karen fight. We surf against the Gengar as it uses Spite and not Curse, and her final two Pokemon are Murkrow, which will go down to a single return, and the Houndoom, which is weak to water, so we surf all over it and we say goodbye Karen, we're not speaking to your manager today, we have defeated you very easily in a time of 50 seconds. I was so happy about that. That gave me the energy to take on Lance. The Liar with the Flyers can be tricky for us when we're a water type because 4 out of his 6 Pokemon resist water. We take care of the Gyarados in a couple of returns, we're on to Dragonite number 1. We get paralysed, so I reset. I'm holding the Paralysed Cure Berry this time. We use the same strategy against the Gyarados. It's not going to use anything other than Flail, because it sees that we are a water type, and we are on to Dragonite number 2. We take it out with a lucky critical hit, and that means we are not getting paralysed on this attempt at Lance. He uses Thunder Wave, but we say, ha, we've got a Paralysed Cure Berry, and we can move on to his final Dragonite. We use Guillotine against it, and it hits once more. This feels so good having Guillotine. And his final 2 Pokemon are both weak to water, so we get bonked a little bit by the Aerodactyl, but it doesn't matter because we outspeed the Charizard, we knock it out with a single Surf, and we've defeated Lance in a time of 1 hour, 31 minutes and 42 seconds. The Lie with the Flyers is no more, and our league time is 1 hour, 32 minutes and 2 seconds. Don't go away, Kanto is next. And we rejoin where it all began outside our house in New Bark Town. The first thing that happens is we get a call from Professor Elm. He's got some stuff to give us. He gives us the SS tickets so that we can get to proper Kanto, and he also gives us the Master Ball. That's going to let us catch Snorlax a little bit later on. And now we've got to cycle all the way over to Cherry Grove City because New Bark Town doesn't have the internet yet, so we can retrieve our HM friends. We say welcome back to Kenya, Abra, Psyduck and Paris. They had a lovely holiday at the Costa del PC box, and they are ready to help us out again. We'll go into Mount Mortar and pick up the rare candy there, and while we're at it, we'll pick up the rare candy in the Whirl Islands as well. And that is everything we've got to do in Johto, so let's move on to Kanto, and the first thing we do in Kanto, of course, is the last thing we do in Johto. We get a rare candy, this time from the director of the Pokemon Fan Club. After that, we'll take a trip to the top of the Celadon condominiums, where we'll pick up TM03. TM03 is cursed, and that's going to come in handy a little bit later on. Something else that's going to come in handy a little bit later on is TM17. TM17 is Protect, and we get that from the department store, and now we can finally move on to Erica. Erica is a Grass-type specialist, and she will lead with a Tangler. We take the risk and we try using Return, but we don't quite OHKO, however it uses Bind. Erica's AI isn't the greatest it seems. We move on to Jump Love and we knock that out in one shot. Here comes Victory Bell. Victory Bell also gets knocked out in one shot, and the final Pokemon is Blossom. Blossom can be quite bulky, but we do manage to OHKO, and that means we've defeated Erica in a time of 1 hour 37 minutes and 45 seconds. Up next is Misty. She's a water-type trainer just like ourselves. She'll lead with Golduck and will use Return against it. We knock out the Golduck in one hit, and that brings us on to Quagsire. We sometimes take a couple of shots for Quagsire, but not this time, it goes down in one. Lapras, however, is a different story. We take it deep into the red, but it uses Blizzard, which isn't very effective. And now we're on to Starmie. Starmie goes down straight away, we grow to level 62, we defeat Misty, we get the Cascade badge, and we can move on to Sabrina. Sabrina's a Psychic-type trainer who will lead with that pesky Espeon. Espeon loves to use Sand Attack, but in this instance we knock it out straight away. Our accuracy is not being dropped for the rest of this battle. Mr. Mime waves goodbye and says nothing as he does it, and the final Pokemon is Alakazam. Alakazam goes down straight away and we've defeated Sabrina. And up next is another gym where we could be at a little bit of a disadvantage. It's Surge and he has electric types. Let's see how we do. Hopefully we won't get any electric type moves to the face. We'll start with the Raichu and use Return against it. Critical hit knocks it out in one, and here comes Magneton. We surf on the Magneton to take it down in one shot. Up next is Electabuzz. Surf doesn't quite OHKO and he uses a Hyper Potion. Return, however, does OHKO, so we should have used that straight away. His final two Pokemon are a pair of Electrode. Return takes down the first Electrode and the second Electrode goes down in just the same way. We've defeated Surge without taking a single point of damage. I don't know what I was worried about. We get the Thunder Badge and we're on to Snorlax. We fling a Master Ball at the Snorlax because we want its leftovers, and it goes in our party. That is all the Pokemon we're catching in this run, and we can move on to Brock's gym. We have a very fortuitous type matchup against Brock because he is a Rock-type trainer and we are a Water-type trainer. So he will lead with Graveler. Graveler is 4 times weak to Surf and goes down straight away without any resistance. He'll bring out Kabutops next because Surf's neutral against it, but it doesn't help him out. It doesn't help out the Omastar either. That goes down straight away. Next Pokemon is Rhyhorn. We Surf against the Rhyhorn because again it's 4 times weak and his final Pokemon is Onix. Onix is just like Rhyhorn and Graveler, 4 times weak to Surf. He's defeated in a time of 1 hour 46 minutes and 23 seconds. We have a little chat with Blue at Cinnabar Island. We'll pick up the rare candy as well. And now we're on to Blaine. Another fortuitous type matchup, and I feel really bad about this one. Blaine's just lost his home, he's lost his gym, he's lost some of his Pokemon, and we're coming here with a Water-type Pokemon. We are very insensitive, aren't we? Especially against Magcargo, that's 4 times weak to Water. The Bumhead Fireduck stands no chance either, we take that out, and the final Pokemon is Rapidash. We're quicker than the Rapidash, so it's not that rapid, and we've defeated Blaine, time of 1 hour 48 minutes and 6 seconds. And that brings us nicely onto our final themed gym leader. It's Janine the Poison Specialist. Crobat goes down straight away and we are on to Ariados. We take care of Ariados with a return and all her Pokemon are very low leveled, so we're not really going to have to worry about any one of them at all. In fact, if I take damage against any of her Pokemon, I think I've done a bad job on this particular gym. In this instance we take care of all of them, still at full HP. So we'll get the Soul Badge and we will move on to Blue. He is a mixed themed leader, he's the final gym leader and he leads with Pidgeot. We use Return against the Pidgeot, but we don't quite OHKO and we get some wings to the face because of that. Up next is Exeggutor. We use Return against Exeggutor because it'll likely take in Sunlight just like it did, and it's 2 shots on the Exeggutor. The rest of the Pokemon should be a little bit easier, but we take a lot of damage from Alakazam. Up next is Gyarados. Gyarados could be a little bit of an issue because he resists our Water-type moves, and he hits us with a Hyper Beam. That was crucial. Of course, Rhydon is going to be no problem at all because it's 4 times weak to Water, but we're only on 9 HP growing to 11 for his Arcanine. It has the priority move and knocks us out. Let's give it another go. This time we take Pidgeot once again into the red, but he gets a critical hit. 2 shot on the Pidgeot, and now we can take care of the Exeggutor. There's no point in risking Guillotine because he has a grass type move and can see the type advantage, so he'll always use Solar Beam, which is perfect for us because that means he's never going to hit us. Alakazam puts up a Reflect to make our life even more difficult, so we have no option but to try for a Guillotine against the Gyarados. We get the Guillotine off on the Gyarados and we are on to Rhydon. Rhydon is always going to go down to 1 Surf, and that means we are on to his final Pokemon, the Arcanine. Reflect fades, but that doesn't really matter because we're going to be using our special move Surf. He uses a full Restore as we take him into the red, but we get a much better damage roll on the second time, and we have defeated Blue in a time of 1 hour, 50 minutes and 49 seconds. Let's have a little chat with Professor Oak to unlock Mount Silver, And that brings us nicely to our final challenge. Let me know in the comments below, do you think we're going to be able to beat Red in a time of under 2 hours? We have just 8 minutes to defeat Red at this point. Let's see if we can do it. As always, we'll start with our current learn set at our current level and see where we go from there. He leads with a Pikachu though. Pikachu outspeeds us and knocks us out with one Thunder. It's not going to work at this level with our current held item. We'll swap to the Quick Claw and see how much difference that makes. We use Return against the Pikachu and we do OHKO, so that's a good sign. Even though we don't outspeed, we are able to OHKO the Pikachu. Venusaur on the other hand cannot get two-shot and knocks us out with Solar Beam. So let's replace Guillotine with Protect. That will stop us getting hit by the Solar Beam because it's a charging move, and also we're too under-leveled to use Guillotine effectively at all. So Thunder misses and we are able to take care of the Pikachu. We are on to the Venusaur. Venusaur takes in Sunlight, so we Protect, and that means that Solar Beam misses, and we get a critical hit on the second turn to knock it out. Onto the Espeon we go, it outspeeds us, and our low special defense is showing. It takes 2 hits to knock us out. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to replace Harden with Curse. We're a low speed anyway, so we might as well increase 2 of our stats instead of just 1. We'll use some rare candies to get up to level 69 and we'll try again. We still don't outspeed the Pikachu, but Thunder is highly inaccurate, so we can one-shot it, and we can set up quite nicely against the Venusaur. We can use Curse on the first turn as it takes in Sunlight, and then we can do the Protect Tango with it, because every time it takes in Sunlight, we can just use Protect on the second turn. So we'll use Curse a total of 3 times to begin with, and then we'll see how we go. So Venusaur takes in Sunlight, but we are able to one-shot it this time. We are on to the Espeon. Espeon uses Reflect, and unfortunately 3 curses isn't quite enough to knock it out. He gets a critical hit, and that means we're going to have to use more rare candies. Up to level 72 we go. Reset number 24, let's try again. We still don't outspeed the Pikachu, so we're relying on Thunder missing or the Quick Claw activating, but we do have a very easy setup against this Venusaur. We do the Protect Tango once more, where we curse 3 times, and hopefully now even with the Reflect, 3 curses will hopefully be enough to OHKO the Espeon. So once we've done the Protect Tango, we can use Return against the Venusaur, and we knock it out. We got a lucky Quick Claw activation there too. And it's onto the Espeon we go, and he uses Psychic instead of Reflect, so that levelling up didn't matter at all. However, we do get onto the Snorlax and we knock it out in one shot. Blastoise is next, however it can see the knockout with Surf. Our low special defense really is showing once more, so we're going to use up the rest of our rare candies. We're at level 76 and we're going to try again. We use Return against the Pikachu to knock it out in one shot. We actually outspeed that now, and we are on to Venusaur. We'll do the Protect Tango hopefully for one of the final times against this Venusaur. I tried to save a little bit of time by cursing only twice and then using Return, however we didn't one-shot the Venusaur, so I used Protect again and use another curse just to be safe against the Snorlax. If we can't OHKO a Venusaur, I don't feel a lot of confidence against the Snorlax. Our Quick Claw activates against the Espeon and we get a critical hit, so that is down once and for all. We don't outspeed the Snorlax, which confused me a little bit, but it doesn't matter. He used Amnesia as we used a physical move, and we're on to the Blastoise. Quick Claw activates against the Blastoise and we knock it out with a critical hit, and we are on to his final Pokemon. It's Charizard. We have the type advantage against the Charizard. We have a buffed attack, and that means we have beaten Red in a time of 1 hour, 56 minutes and 50 seconds. We had a struggle with Krabby at the start, but we really made up time at the end. Unfortunately, not enough to get onto the first page of the leaderboard, but we are very proud to be in 11th place. And that does unfortunately push Magcargo down into 22nd place. And there's no change at the other end of the leaderboard. It's still Girafarig in first, Miltank in second, and Ursaring in third. But with that, we are done. I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching, especially if you've persevered through this video. I record these voiceovers overnight, and they're doing construction work at the railway line at the back of my house, so there's a load of dust affecting my voice, and it's very loud, so this has been a bit disjointed. But if you have enjoyed yourself, please do click the like button. If you really enjoyed yourself, consider subscribing, and if you've got anything to say, leave it in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.